Hi, I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach, and this is the Organize Your Life podcast. I am passionate about organizing because it makes my clients' lives so much easier, more relaxed, and with more time to spend the way that they want to. In every podcast, I will talk about an organizing, decluttering, or time management concept. I'll tell you why it's important. I'll also include an action step at the end so you can start practicing right away. My specialty is chunking down these big topics so they aren't overwhelming. That's the concept for the podcast, too. I'm now done with the material from my first book, 52 Simple Ways to Get Organized. You can buy my books on my website or on Amazon. You can also view the podcast show notes on my blog. I do this podcast to connect with people, and that means you. Let me know that you're listening. Shoot me an email at claire@cluttercoach.net. I would really love to hear from you. Okay, here we go. This is podcast 102, and it's about using information. Are you good at gathering information? How about taking notes on a seminar or maybe a book? Maybe you write in the margins of the handouts, or maybe you create a dedicated binder for all your fantastic notes. But what happens next? Unless you're in school, there's not going to be a test on those notes. There won't be a specific time-sensitive reason for you to go back and refer to them again. To use them for a particular reason, to get closer to getting your degree, for example. What happens to a lot of these notes is that they molder away in your file cabinet, or even in your inbox waiting for you to read them again. Now, be honest, do you ever do that? Do you ever look at them again? Do you use them? My guess is that most people don't, no matter how well-intentioned they are. Note-taking is a valuable activity. You're more likely to retain information if you take notes, especially if you do it by hand. There's something about moving your pen across paper that cements things better in your memory. But even that slightly improved retention won't matter after a few weeks. What's clear and fascinating and motivating in your mind from the seminar you just took is going to fade away and be crowded out by the new demands on your attention. The poetically named curve of forgetting shows that we will forget about 40% of new learning over the first 24 hours. And if we wait another 24 hours before reviewing the information, we've lost 60%. And it's downhill from there. The magic bullet is to use that information, put it to work, fit it into your life so that it won't slide off into oblivion. If you learned how to tune up a bike, find a friend and tune her bike up. If you learn to knit a hat, knit another one, and then another one after that. It's pretty straightforward to practice a skill like that. If you learn, say, about Renaissance art, go get some library books to deepen your learning. Much information you absorb is more abstract. For example, what you learn from listening to this podcast. Although I talk about specific techniques for organizing and time management, I also talk about my philosophy and psychology and behavioral trends. Even then, I do come up with ways you can put those ideas into action. Still, it's up to you to do that. I'm not coming over to your house to make you do it. Well, I will do that, actually, if you pay me. In other cases, the information is even more abstract or generalized, and it's up to you to figure out how to apply it to your life. Say you take a class about self-care. You learn about how important it is and all the wonderful benefits you'll get if you do it. You're inspired. Maybe even you get some great idea you can try out. Or maybe you get a lot of ideas. That actually can be as bad as getting none because you won't be able to do them all, and you will have to choose, which trips people up. A weekend conference where you go to 8 to 10 workshops is a goldmine for this kind of problem. How do you choose? I like to keep things simple. I say just pick something to try. Pick the one that appeals to you right now, that jumps off the page of your notes. Can't limit yourself to one? Okay, pick 3. 3 is plenty. Save the others for another time. What if the class requires you to design your own project? None of the information you so carefully take notes on will do you any good without that critical element. This is another common situation where you need to just pick something to apply all that learning to. It could be a marketing class where the information is totally abstract until you relate it to your own adventure. Trust me, you will learn much better by choosing something to work with in the class, even if it turns out not to be your ultimate idea. Trying to apply the information at a later date doesn't work as well, not the least because you don't have the support of the class structure to help you. Now, the nitty-gritty. How do you use these ideas? Change is hard. Repeat after me. Change is hard. You have to take advantage of anything and everything that will make it easier. And that includes listening to past podcasts where I talk about this kind of thing. It means blocking out time in your schedule to practice, or putting your running shoes near the door, taping a note to your bathroom mirror. It means setting aside time to review and practice. It means calling your study buddy regularly for months after the class ends. And it means planning out the steps of your project to unfold over time. Here's what you can do now. Don't just stockpile those notes. Find some notes from a class or a project that you were excited about but didn't pursue. Review them and see if you can identify a skill to practice and make a part of your life. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach. If you like the show, I'd love it if you leave a rating and review in iTunes. You can subscribe, too, so the podcast will be ready and waiting for you to listen to. You'll find the show notes on my blog at www.cluttercoach.net, and you can check out my store to find books I've written and a whole bunch of other stuff. If you're a fan of the show, you can become a patron on patreon.com for as little as $1 a month. You can find my page by going to the Patreon website, that's Patreon, and searching on Clutter Coach. I'll still post the podcast free of charge, but I've got some cool rewards for folks who want to help me make the show even better. Come back next week for a new podcast.